matter what has happened to us in the past,
Yes.
whether it's a traumatic event, a failure, somebody who's hurt us, a mistake that we've made, we have to understand that the way that our brain works is it does as much as possible to move away from anything that could potentially hurt us. So the first thing that your brain does is keep you alive.
Yes.
But the second thing that it does is it keeps you away from hurting yourself. Whether it's real or imagined, your brain will move away first. And it'll do protection mechanism first. So if you've had an experience from the past where you've made a mistake or you've disappointed yourself, you've disappointed other people,
your parents,
your teachers, your brothers, your sisters, your co-workers, your brain is always looking for associations and similarities in what you want to do that might lead to the same disappointment or the same pain that you've had before. And as soon as it senses any type of correlation, it lights up the part of the brain that remembers the past and brings all of your past into the present moment so you feel it and projects the possible negative consequences into the future. As soon as that happens, your motor cortex shuts off, the part of your brain that takes action and the motivational centers of your brain. It just shuts off. And what it does, it either fights it, it freezes so that you are paralyzed, or it makes you run away the other way.
Yeah.
So that's one part of the brain that works. But if you understand that when that happens, you have an emotion, and it might be an emotion of fear of disappointment, fear of success, fear of failure, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection. There's 50 or more fears that we have as human beings that we're always aware of in the environment. And if you realize that those fears are possible, but they're not certain, what we have to teach ourselves is to be aware that those are possible, not certain, but then to flip the switch to the left prefrontal cortex part of the brain, which is really the brain that comes up with solutions. It's the brain that comes up with, directions, instructions, strategies, and tactics on how to make it happen instead of all the things that could go wrong. So we have different parts of the brain that are responsible for different functions. Most people don't know that they can switch from this part of the brain to that part of the brain. They could lower the amygdala, part of the brain that's responsible for fear and the emotional response of fear in the brain that sends, epinephrine or cortisol, neurotransmitters in the brain that we feel in our body. And then we feel these neurotransmitters in our body, then we think about what we're feeling, and then we feel more about what we think about. And if that's what we only focus on,
yes,
then it keeps perpetuating the exact same cycle. But we have in our control.
That's why people are repeating same mechanism.
Right. Yeah, there's a term in the neuroscience field, in the brain research field, called repetition compulsion. So we have a compulsion to repeat things over and over and over again. Whether they're good or bad, it's irrelevant. So we will just keep repeating stuff. Even when we do things that don't give us the result that we want, we become addicted to that result and that emotional state in our brain and in our bodies.